Building exteriors, walls, house washing, roof cleaning without soap. Sweep and collect the debris. Dry clean oil spots and properly dispose of the debris. Place oil absorbent boom or sock around the storm drain. Wastewater may go to the storm drain through an oil absorbent boom and screen. The oil sheen should be visible on the water flowing into the storm drain. Basically, your building exteriors that we're talking about here and the roofs don't have heavy contaminations of oil and grease on them. It's basically atmospheric dirt and algae and mildew. Building exteriors, walls, house washing, cleaning without soap. Referred, seal the storm drain. Discharge water to the sanitary sewer. Second best, to direct the wastewater runoff to a dirt or landscape area. Now you always want to pre-clean and you always want to filter. That means through an oil absorbent boom and a screen. Now then, a lot of times you're not going to be able to discharge even without chemicals. No, with chemicals, but I'm saying if you're using chlorine or bleach up in there, that needs to be neutralized and discharge it to landscaping. Painted buildings with paint. Job in good shape, no soap use. Built after 1977. For structures built before 1978, see the EPA's lead abatement program. You can get small test kits from Home Depot and Lowe's. I don't know, it costs $2 or $3, and you can test the paint on the side of a building to see if it contains lead. Preferred method is pre-clean, seal the storm drains, and discharge the wastewater to sanitary sewer, which is always going to be your first choice. Dispose of the collected particles as garbage. Second choice, pre-clean and direct the wastewater runoff to dirt or landscaped area. There's seminars all over the United States how to handle structures and remove that lead-based paint. So you need to go to one of them, and we're not going to address that. But if you test the top surface on a home and it shows negative for lead, you might need to check on that building and see if there's 3 or 4 layers of paint. And if you're going to be removing any paint, you need to check the layers under the top layer to make sure there's no lead hidden under lead-free paint on the surface. Painted buildings, to remove paint and clean up in preparation of painting with or without soap. These BMPs do not address the disposal of paint, basically because you get into all the lead issues. If you're going to be doing that, you need to take the EPA's school on that, and they're held all over the United States. There's lots of contractors that put on those seminars. Graffiti removal. Using wet sanding or high pressure washing with cleaning compound. Minimize the amount of water used. Pre-clean and seal the storm drain and discharge the wastewater to sanitary sewer. Second best, pre-clean, then direct the wastewater runoff to dirt or landscaped area. Kitchen exhaust cleaning, with or without soap. Storm drain disposal is not permitted. Kitchen grease exhaust systems are full of grease. They're never clean enough to go to the storm drains. Large amounts of grease should be collected and put in a grease dumpster or disposal by an environmental waste company. Wastewater disposed to the grease trap. You always, if it's available, almost all restaurants are going to have grease traps. About the only ones that won't is if you have an office building, they put in a kitchen that might not have a grease trap. Run into that situation 2 or 3 times. But otherwise, the method of going to the sanitary sewer is through the grease trap. PWDA and UACC have certified courses for this cosmetic cleaning program. You can contact either organization if you want to get that certification. The other resources. Another good training resource is BASMA, BASMAA.org. This website includes a cosmetic cleaning instructional training video an online certification test with a certificate. So that's one place you can go and get training, and basically it doesn't cost you anything. A video on how POTW's, public owned treatment works, plant operates, is available on YouTube at that particular address on your screen. Background information for the development of the regulations and BMTs. The Clean Water Act was passed in 1972, which basically said nothing down the drain but rain. And the EPA 6th Regional Director told me that went into that effect, it was like sitting down at your desk. You have all this stuff that you got to take care of. So what do? You prioritize it. So what they did is on the top is all these big industries that's got these 12-inch pipes going down into the storm drain that killed a lot of lakes, rivers, and streams. And a lot of the Great Lakes around Chicago, I flew over that in that time period, and it looked like the waste pit of the world was dumping out into that lake. No wonder nothing was growing, or you couldn't eat the fish. So what they did was started to the biggest problems first, and they worked down. He said even in 1972, in that time period, he said it'd be 20, 25 years before it would probably work down to the contract cleaner level, and he was pretty close. Basic rules of the Clean Water Act and other federal laws. The Clean Water Act prohibits a point source discharge of pollutions into water of the United States without a proper permit. And that permit is an NPDES permit, National Discharge Elimination Systems, and all municipalities, regardless of size, and a lot of rural areas are now required to have those permits, NPDES. If your discharge does not reach waters of the United States, then there are no requirements under the Clean Water Act. No off-property discharge if possible. Remember, there's 3 ways to get off: air contamination, surface water contamination, and groundwater contamination. The generator is responsible from cradle to grave of his waste. Private citizens can sue the government and other citizens for violations of the Clean Water Act. And if you'll listen to your TV and news stations, the internet, you find out a lot of these environmental groups are suing the EPA on a fairly regular basis. The EPA does not approve products, processes, or technologies, but sets specific discharge objectives that dischargers must meet, and that's through these NPDES permits. The Clean Water Act says you cannot dilute your discharge with water to achieve discharge limits. EPA established a national goal that all waters of the United States should be fishable and swimmable. I want to add a couple of things here. The EPA will set the discharge limits for the cities and municipalities and states for what can go into federal waters through their NPDES permit. When this was started way back in 92 and 93, they had the municipalities and states go out and collect all their MS4, municipal separate storm sewer system, all their stormwater, and report what that was. They did it through dry weather conditions and wet weather conditions, and also the first flush conditions, which is what runs off in the first 15 minutes. So 20 years ago, we had regulators running all out and technicians collecting wastewater. So the EPA collected all this data. And to put it in layman's terms, what they told every municipality was that they had to get their wastewater cleaner about 5% next year, which means that the Rocky Mountain spring water in Denver, Colorado had to be a lot cleaner than the water for Houston, Texas, which is on the bottom of all these pollution rivers and everything down there. So all cities don't have to have the same cleanliness, but they got to continue to get everything cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And that's one reason why the regulations vary so much. Typical exemptions. There's a host of exemptions going into the storm drain. water line flushing, landscape irrigation, divert stream flows, rising groundwater, uncontaminated groundwater infiltration, uncontaminated pump groundwater, discharges from potable water sources, foundation drains, air conditioning condensate, commercial and residential, irrigation water, springs, water from crawl space pumps, footing drains, lawn watering, residential and charity car washes, flows from habitats and wetlands, dechlorinated swimming pool discharges. You notice they don't want you to discharge chlorinated water into the storm drain. Street wash water, flows from emergency fire fighting. And basically, it doesn't list it there, but a homeowner is basically exempt from this unless it's a significant contributor of contaminants. Then the municipality can tell the homeowner that he can't discharge lawn watering or washing his car or anything like that. But most places right now, it's not a significant contaminant, so the homeowner can wash his car in his driveway, but he can't hire a contract cleaner to come in and do it and run the same wash water down into the storm drain. If a contractor comes in, he's going to have to capture that wastewater and discharge it appropriately. Hopefully, that will be to the sanitary sewer. The EPA is very specific when it comes to classifying wastewater. Wastewater is considered a source of an industrial waste. Processed water means any water which during manufacturing or processing comes into direct contact with, results from the production or use of any raw material, intermediate product, finished byproducts, and waste products. Pollutant means dredged soil, solid waste, incineration, residue, backwash, sewage, garbage, sewage sludge, munitions, chemical waste, biodegradable material, radioactive material, heat, wrecked or discharged equipment, rock, sand, cellular, cedar dirt, and industrial, municipal, and agricultural waste discharges into water. Pollutant means about anything they want it to be. AHJ is authority having jurisdiction. If your wash water breaks a property line and it's surface water, it's going to be the surface water people that are going to be coming after you. Most of the places that's going to be either the health department or the environmental department of most cities. If it's air pollution, well then the air pollution people will come in. And if you contaminate the groundwater, it would be the groundwater regulating authorities. POTW is Public Owned Treatment Works, which is your sewer plant. MS4 is a municipal separate storm sewer system and includes storm sewer pipes, streets, gutters, and drain ditches along the highway if they empty into the waters of the state. I got to tell you a little joke that happened with me on POTW. I had a room full of regulators, and I said the problem was a lot of you regulators think that P stands for private instead of public-owned treatment works, and you don't want to accept the wastewater from the sanitary sewer. I got in a lot of trouble for that statement.